Hi everyone, it's me Darlene. I am back with row number 2 for our Scrappy strip quilt. If you're not familiar with this series, there is a playlist link in the description of this video and also on the end screen. What we are doing is making a strip quilt, but we are creating our own strips. We're piecing. Our first strip was a strip set strip. We used little pieces, sewed them together, and I included a couple of novelty pieces here and there. You can do whatever you want. You could have even just cut a strip. This was part 1, so go watch it if you want to get caught up. Before I forget, I sell a bunch of scrap packs like this. I call these classic scrap packs because there's different sizes and there's no duplicates, and there's 200 different prints in this one. It's the most prints I've offered in one scrap pack. So check this out on eBay. It's on eBay right now. I have a lot of other things on eBay. I have other scrap packs. I have like 5-inch squares, all kinds of things. My scrap packs are not big enough for what we are about to do because we're going to be cutting like 8 by 9, I think. I haven't quite made up my mind, but they'll certainly come in handy for all the other quilting projects that I have coming up, including this quilt. You'll be able to use some of these in this quilt if you like scrappy. They're not scrappy like cut in a scrappy way. They're all nicely cut. They're just different sizes. I cut on the fold so they're not perfectly even. Just a good way to get a lot of prints. My eBay link is in the description of this video, and my eBay name is Darlene Michaud. You can also go to my blog, darlenemichaud.com, and you'll find the links there. This row is going to be very easy, and I thought I'd like to use up some of the 10-inch squares that I have. Now, we're not going to actually keep them at 10 inches. Whatever we trim, that's going to go in the crumb boxes, right? But I don't know, I just want this row to be quick and easy, and I want it to take up space in our quilt. We're not going to have just, narrow little rows all the time. So I think this will do the trick. I picked I can't remember, it's a Benertex layer cake, and I believe this one is Happy Heart, something like that. And I have blue, yellow, blue, yellow, blue. And then I think this is from the same line, and it's just kind of green. I don't know if it showed green in the camera. So these are all flowers, so I'm calling it the garden row, and I'm going to stack them, and I'm going to trim them to 8 inches. Oh, make sure they're all in the same direction. Yes, these are directional, so I want to make sure my little flowers are standing up. And I think I can cut through all 5. And if you're using layer cake squares, 10-inch squares with the pinked edges, it's up to you if you want to trim on both sides, or you are okay with, having the pinked on one end. And I think I'm okay with the pinked on one end, so I'm just going to take 2 inches off here. I was going to go with 8-inch squares, so I'm going to trim this down to 8, but then I thought, let's make them a little taller. I'm just going to trim to 9 on this way. So this one is going to be our sashing. We're going to need 2-inch strips between these pieces, and we can easily get 4 2-inch strips. They'll be 10 tall, and that's good. If our squares are 9 tall, that gives us wiggle room. You know how I like to do that? Put a taller strip between, and then we trim after the fact. So let me just trim this to 8 this way. I always like to count because I don't want to screw up. Where's my ruler? And don't forget, if you're off by a little bit, that's okay because we're not joining these rows right now. When we're all done, we can trim our rows and make everything work at that point. Love these. And now I'm just going to turn, and I'm going to trim at 9 inches. So there's our blocks. You can use whatever you want. I don't care if you use the same color, and then you're sashing one color, your squares one color, anything you want. If you have squares that you've made and you don't know what to do with them, you can stick one in there. I just want to make this one easy. Now I need 4 2-inch strips. So I'm just going to take the pinked edge off here. And I'm just going to cut 4 2-inch strips. And another piece for the crumb box. I'm starting to regret my fabric prints because I love stuff that's wild and crazy. Like, look at this. I could have done this, but I don't want, I don't know. I just want this to be more light and airy, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's all going to be good no matter what, but it's very hard to decide. And I just wanted to show you that, see, we have the sashing is longer than we need, and we like that, right? And I'm just going to lay it on, I guess, the edge that I cut, just because that's the way it worked out. And I'm going to sew. I'm actually going to go press this. I took you to the machine just so I could remind you how we make sure our rows stay straight. If you go by the edge, you're going to end up with a crooked row because we don't sew perfectly even seams. And if the seam is off by a little bit and you open and then you follow this edge, it might be aiming you down a little bit, maybe up. So what we do is I'm taking the yellow, right? I want to join it right sides together. So I want to attach it here. And everybody wants to just say, ooh, okay, I'm going to, do it this way, but it might be crooked. So you line up here and here. And if you have the pinked edges, don't be overly worried about it. I can see this is straight here. We look good there. And I did a good job. Now, if it would be off a little bit, you could take a ruler. Let's say this line kind of like goes and you see a little bit of your sashing, showing. You would just take a ruler and you could measure or eyeball like 1/4 of an inch and draw a line. And you just sew on that line. Take a pencil so it doesn't seep through. And you'll be good to go. Okay, I'm good to go. Oh my God, did you see what I did? Did you? Did you? I didn't pay attention to my direction. I have to pick this out. Hang on. See how easy it is to fuck up? I fucked up. All right, let's try this again. I'm going to go this way, my direction. They're both standing up, and I even mentioned it earlier, and I still didn't quite pay attention. I did a better job. Nothing is upside down this time. All right, I'm going to go and trim the sashing, and then I'm just going to do the same to the rest of the blocks. I'm just going to go blue, yellow, blue, and with sashing between each. I told you to trim. No, don't do that yet, because we still have to trim this row, because there's no way it's going to be perfectly straight. We're going to be up a little, down a little, and I always allow for that, which is why, we're doing 9 inches this way. I wish I would have left them at 10. Then we could have trimmed, and I like the rectangular look. But anyway, don't trim those. They're all sticking out, and we're just going to fold, and we're going to trim. And the reason I didn't have us do it that way for this is because there's a lot of seams on this, and we don't want to fold and then, that would have been cutting through too much. So if you remember right, or if you haven't watched this video yet, go watch it. We trimmed pieces and then put them together. That was the best way for that. But for this, you can just fold, I don't know, just eyeball it a little bit. And I'm actually going to fold again. And I'm just trying to see, if my edges are a little bit straight. So let me decide what we're going to trim to. Let's just do 8 so that we'll all be on board, because some of you might have something very crooked. And if you started with 10, we should be able to trim down to 8. And it doesn't really matter, right? Because we're just going to make as many rows as we need to finish this. Here I go. Yep, I was able to cut through that. Now I see my 2 ends there, and I am going to just trim those 2 ends. I'm putting this on a line, And I'm going to just trim those two edges. Those are the two edges, the beginning and the end. I'm just going to straighten that out like that. Now don't be concerned if yours is not. Oh, I like it so much better. I don't think the colors are good in this lighting or whatever, but let me measure. And again, don't worry if yours is shorter or longer. At this point, we don't know what we really want for a width. We're waiting until we have a bunch of rows. We can always trim on the ends, you know, even though you might not want to trim on your pretty end, we can trim, we can add. We can do anything we want. So I'm at 42 and a half. I think the other one was 42, I guess. I can't remember. Let's see. Each one of them is about 42 and a quarter. I can't believe that came out just right. That doesn't mean they're going to stay that way. Now at some point I'm going to decide what I want for in between the rows. And I like it. That doesn't mean that these two are going together. We don't know anything yet. But I'm okay with my, you know, light, fluffy, airy prints. You know, I thought I would have liked something more bold, but I think it's going to be okay. Especially since the pieces were big. I don't know. I don't care. I would have gone with bold. I would have loved it. And I think that the parrots, oh, I have to remember, when it comes time to putting things together, that there is a right and wrong. I kind of would have liked the parrots, but I'm good with garden row. I guess that's it. I hope I wasn't too confusing. Please subscribe so you can see the rest of this series. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with more soon. Bye!